Hey there, welcome to another beautiful episode of Reality Podcast. I am your host, Olorunjuwon Folashade, and I feel like I should start this episode with an apology. I'm sorry for not releasing this episode as I went due, which was a week ago. I was caught up with life, but I'm doing fine. I'm doing better now. I hope everyone listening to me right now is doing good. I hope you're doing fine. I hope life is not treating you badly. I hope you're staying positive because I always say this, that's the only way for us to survive in this world. Stay positive, hold on to your faith, and you will be fine. So, on today's episode, I want to talk about something really interesting, something that cuts across all classes, classes of life, and it is called the imposter syndrome. I know some people may have heard about it while others may have not heard about it. But regardless, that is what I would be talking about on today's episode. Now, if you know me, I like to start with a proper definition of the word. So, the definition of the imposter syndrome is the feeling of self-doubt and personal incompetence that persists despite your education, experience, and accomplishments. Now you see why I said it cuts across different classes. Because whether you are with big wins and accomplishments or you're with small wins, zero wins and accomplishments, people under both classes still struggle with the imposter syndrome. And I would like to paint a scenario for better understanding on the imposter syndrome in our head. I would be painting this scenario using myself and podcasting. So imagine I have been doing podcasting for let's say 2 years now, and I have been putting in the effort. I've been putting in my all in all, I'm being consistent. I am going for trainings to better my skill in this podcasting thing, and eventually after 2 years I am being recognized by say a big podcasting body, and they're like, you know what, we enjoy reality podcasts, we see value in reality podcasts, and I'm being given my flowers. But then there's this voice in my head saying, do you really think you deserve this? I just think it's just mere local, because there are other people who have been in this podcast game for a longer time and they've not even gotten this recognition. I think you're just lucky. You're just lucky to have been recognized by these people. Because if you think about it very well, if they can listen to your episodes properly, they would see the flops in the episode and they may just withdraw this their award. They may just withdraw this their nomination. Now, this is the voice in your head telling you this. This is a perfect example of somebody who is battling with an imposter syndrome. There's always this voice in their head making it seem like whatever they are getting, the attention they are getting, the accolades they are getting, they don't really deserve it. They didn't earn it. It's just mere luck, or they just tend to attribute it to the external factors. That's what this voice in your head does to you. And this imposter syndrome, it has, babies under. It has like subsections under. We have anxiety, overthinking, self-doubt, and perfectionism. Now, but for the sake of this episode, I would be wrapping all of them under the umbrella of imposter syndrome. So in case you are struggling with any of these subsections, this episode is for you. Now, I want you to note that you may not be able to completely take away this imposter syndrome like a magic from your head or from the society at large, but you can definitely curb it, you can definitely manage it, you can definitely gradually, release yourself from this syndrome. And here are the few ways you can do this. Firstly, there is this saying that you should always celebrate your wins, whether small or big. I would like to say celebrate your efforts even before you celebrate your wins. And this is my reason. Because, there are times where, sure, you would be recognized. I like using get your flowers. But before you get your flowers, if you don't celebrate the effort, if you don't celebrate the energy, if you don't celebrate the dedication you put into it, when you get your win, this voice in your head will make all your efforts turn to rubbish. I mean, he would, or should I say she would, the voice in your head would make it look like you didn't really deserve it. So every step of the way, celebrate your efforts, celebrate everything you're doing, and not just the end result. So I love listening to podcasts, and I think a few days back I was like, let me look for new podcasts, not the regular ones I listen to. I want to listen to new stories, new kind of content. And I went on Anchor, and guess what? I saw a lot of podcasts that they didn't even release their first episode. Some only released their trailer. Some did release their first episode but didn't release their second. And this is my 5th episode, and I applauded myself. Shade, you are doing well. I am applauding my efforts. At least before my flowers come to me rather, I'm already applauding myself for the effort I am putting. So that whenever I am being recognized, that voice in my head will not start painting out my flaws, painting out the bots in what I'm doing. Don't forget, give yourself your flowers. Give yourself the accolades you deserve, not the accolades you need, the accolade you deserve. Don't undermine yourself, your potential, your ability, and your wins. This is something a lot of people do. Now, I think a while ago, a friend of mine was giving me gist about something that is happening to her. I think she was recognized for something, and I was like, "Omo, guy, congratulations! I'm really happy for you. This is a huge deal." But she didn't see it that way. She was like, "Is it really that big?" Now she was like, it's not really that big. Omo, this girl is suffering from imposter syndrome because this is something huge, but she's undermining everything. Like, this is an opportunity people would die to get, but she is undermining it. And this is something we should all, as much as the urge to just make it look like it's not really that serious, we should avoid that urge and celebrate yourself, celebrate your wins, no matter how small. In fact, if once I get to 100 listens, I can even throw a party. It is a win for me, and I'm happy because I deserve it. I have put in the effort, I have put in the work. So I should be able to celebrate my wins and not undermine my efforts. Another point is, let go of perfectionism. I'm sure you must have met someone, at least, or people who are obsessed with perfection. They want everything to be perfect. Please let go of perfectionism. You cannot be 100%. Do your best. I'm not going to preach mediocrity on my podcast, but I mean, do your best, put in your all, but don't beat yourself up if it is not 100%. And lastly, cultivate self-compassion. Now I want you to calm down and tell yourself, me self they try. Shall they use self they try? I mean, whenever you're having this feeling of you're not putting in enough effort, or you don't really deserve all these things you are getting, tell yourself, Shade, me self they try. I am trying, I am doing a lot, and I deserve everything. I mean, everything I get. This is what you should always tell yourself. This imposter syndrome, once you can cultivate the habit of self-compassion, let go of perfectionism, give yourself your flowers, applaud your efforts, trust me, little by little you would be able to defeat that voice in your head that makes it seem like you don't deserve what you're getting. I hope you were able to learn and unlearn a few things on the imposter syndrome. I hope you're able to find a solution to the imposter syndrome you are currently battling with. Don't feel bad for feeling that way, because I also feel that way too. I mean, nobody's perfect. You just have to be able to manage and deal with it so it doesn't affect every area of your life. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. I want to hear your thoughts on this imposter syndrome. You can also drop a story or your own experience on the imposter syndrome. Thank you very much.